Ooh, this is weird. Hi. I think this is the best that we are going to get. So I would say welcome back to my channel, but I literally don't think I've posted like long form content on YouTube outside of my podcast with Ethan in probably, I don't know, maybe 3 years. It's been a very long time. So I figured I would love to start doing these again because I'm a yapper. I could chat all day long and there's some things that I want to talk about or just do, but sometimes I feel like it's hard to watch long form content on Instagram, and then don't even get me started on like TikTok, maybe. Anyways, so what a great time to do this. So today, also I don't have a filming space. We are in my dining room. There are toys everywhere. There's a puzzle right here my family's been working on for a few days. I don't have a filming space. I like lugged all of my makeup out here. But since it's January, I've been seeing a lot of people post online about doing dry January, which is amazing if that's something that you want to do. And if it's not, like that's totally fine too. But I figured because of dry January, it's January, this would be a perfect time to share my sobriety journey because I haven't talked about it online in a really, really long time. And every time I allude to it, I always get a few DMs asking like, hey, can you chat about this? Or I'm thinking about stopping drinking. Can you share what you did? So in case you are thinking about it, I think they call it sober curious. Then I thought I would do my makeup and we could chat about it. So I wasn't gonna do anything with my hair. It's gotten so much longer with Nutrafol, by the way. Am I even in the middle of the, no. So a little bit of backstory on me. No, I have a very average drinking arc, just like everyone, like kind of dabbled in high school, nothing too crazy. Then I got to college, and my freshman year, I actually didn't go too crazy because I was an M, but I was a big nerd, and I went to school for engineering. And I think I was just like too afraid to party hard my freshman year. I don't know, like, but I just wanted to do well in school so bad that I didn't party too hard freshman year. And then sophomore year, definitely. I think I got into my groove with like how to study, how to do exams. And I'm not one of those smart people who doesn't have to study, who can just like go to class and then ace the test. Absolutely not me, like that stuff. Anyways, this video is about drinking. So sophomore, junior year, I definitely drank a lot more. And then senior year of college, I dialed it way back on drinking because, spoiler alert, trigger warning, I had a raging eating disorder. So that's a topic for another video. So I didn't have like a crazy college drinking career. Senior year is when I met my husband, Ethan, who's wonderful. We met because I was the intern at our engineering firm, and he had been there for like 10 years. And I didn't start drinking a lot like because of him or anything. That now that I had a boyfriend who I was obsessed with, it was fun to go out, and I wanted to go out to dinner and have a couple drinks, and his friends were like 8 to 10 years older than me. So it felt like really, really fun and exciting to go out with them. Say around that time is when my drinking increased. I've never had like a drinking problem where I was like drinking during the week or anything, but that's when I really started to get into my party years. Was probably like ages 23 to 26 maybe, were some like big time party years. Did some things I'm not proud of. Got married. I was always, like I said, a casual drinker, so I wouldn't really drink like Monday through, I can't even see what I'm doing, by the way. This is one of the downsides of doing it out here is I don't have a mirror. I need to figure that out for makeup. So I didn't really drink like Monday through Thursday, but then on the weekends, I would just love to get dressed up, go have a cocktail with him. And that just kind of became our routine. And I wouldn't say I was getting like blacked out or anything. I mean, for sure a few times I did, but for the most part, it would be having a few drinks and just waking up with kind of like that slight hangover, sometimes a big one, but usually just like a slight one. Then we got pregnant. And my first pregnancy was a complete surprise. We were not planning on getting pregnant for a few years. So I almost wasn't in the mindset to stop drinking for pregnancy, even though like I obviously did. Okay? I didn't drink when I was pregnant, but I was still in that like party mind phase almost. And I'm gonna be honest, for my second pregnancy, I was already not drinking. I had stopped completely. So not drinking for my second pregnancy, total breeze. Not drinking for my first pregnancy really sucked. And it wasn't even necessarily the act of being drunk, but more so the act of like picking out a cocktail or like going out or just like the fun of getting your first, like that first kind of buzz feeling. I don't know. It was really, really hard. And I feel like people don't talk about that with pregnancy. They're just like, yeah, like I'm pregnant, so I'm not gonna drink. But it was hard for me. It was just really hard. I feel like I don't hear anyone talk about that, probably because you kind of sound like an alcoholic, but it's true. So I had our first baby and I kind of started to get back into having a cocktail here or there after I was pregnant. Just nothing crazy. And I remember the first time that I accidentally got drunk after having her, because you just forget you haven't drank in 9 months or whatever. And the guilt that I felt, and I am by no means saying if you are a mom, you can't get drunk and have fun, but I wasn't planning on it. And I just remember waking up that next morning being like, oh my God, where's the baby? And that night, Ethan hadn't been drinking, so he was taking care of the baby all night. And I just woke up feeling like the worst mom. Maybe if it had been planned that I was gonna have a few drinks, I don't know. But that was the beginning when I was like, ooh, what am I doing? But I kept drinking. But it never really occurred to me as something that I wanted to like actually change or put effort into stopping. Because again, this was like 2019, 2020. I was full-time, well, almost full-time in the engineering office, going in Monday through Friday. And then Friday night after the baby would go down, we would make a couple martinis. I would just almost feel like my old self again, if that made sense. That first year of being a mom, I just remember like loving having a cocktail because it made me feel like remember who I was before having a baby. Let's be honest, I'm gonna put this up in a bun when I head into the office in a few minutes, so. Never forget, Christmas of 2019, I was at my in-laws or maybe my parents' house. I just said I'll never forget, and I'm like, where was I? And again, woke up with an insane hangover. Waking up with that pit, that is enough to make me never want to drink again, which is part of why I stopped, but I'll get there. Well, I had a Christmas where I just went kind of balls to the wall with my family and with my in-laws with drinking just to celebrate. And then it was then that I woke up after that and I was like, you know what? Maybe I should try to do dry January. This was 2020. I've never done dry January before. I've never even thought to do it. But after, you know, like after the holidays, I mean, this is why everyone does dry January, right? You kind of overindulge for a few weeks and you just kind of want to tamper it back a little bit. January 1st, I said, okay, I'm gonna do 1 month of not drinking. By the way, my 5-year-old got this for me from her elementary school. They had like a holiday store where they could go buy like really, really afford like cheap things for their parents. And she noticed that I use these and she got this for me. Oh my God, it makes me wanna cry. January 2020, I stopped drinking. It was so hard. I didn't ask Ethan to stop drinking. I bet if I would have asked him to stop, he would have. I mean, I know if I seriously asked him, he would have stopped, but I didn't because I don't know. So it was hard. That first month, I'm not gonna lie, I downloaded an app. Again, this is 4 or 5 years ago, so I don't even know if this app still exists. It was called Try Dry, I think. I just really liked it. Then it would say every day, like, you've saved this much money, this many calories, whatever. You've been sober for 7 days, 8 days. And just that having that kind of like box that you can check every day, like another day did it. I got to go into the app and press the button. I didn't have alcohol today. And I feel weird sometimes saying I'm sober because it's not like I stopped because like I said, like I had a problem. Like I was drinking Monday through Thursday, but I really started to realize a few things. One is that I was relying on drinks to feel like myself again. And I'm 1 year into motherhood, baby, that self is gone. Like you need to start finding a new version of yourself after you have kids. And that's a really hard lesson to learn. But I just realized that I was trying to hold on to this feeling of having a drink as it feeling like my old self. And that just wasn't what I wanted to define myself. Like if I want to feel like my old self, I wanted to find a new version of myself, whether that included drinking or not. But I really didn't want having a cocktail to be the thing that reminded me of who I was, if that makes any sense. So that was one big reason I decided to stop. This is outside of just wanting to like detox after the holidays. So I went through the month and like I said, really hard in the beginning, and then it just starts to get easier and easier. especially because at first I was like, you know what, when as soon as February hits, the dirtiest martini. It's gonna be so good. I'm gonna feel so proud of myself to have made it a month. I will say, even though Ethan was still drinking, he was extremely, extremely supportive and like kept encouraging me and kept saying like, you've already made it this far. It's only a couple more weeks. Sounds so dramatic now that I'm like saying it out loud, how hard it is to go a month without drinking when you're used to it, whatever. So then I made it to the end of the month and I had big plans, like I said, of taking that dirty double martini and shoving it down my face. But what I had realized over the course of the month is I had felt so good that month. And I know it's cliche, I know it's what everyone says, but it truly had made such a big difference for me, which I'm gonna talk about, that I decided to do another month. And at first it was just, okay, I'm just gonna do February. And then we'll see how it goes. And then for my birthday in March, I'll have that big martini. But then February came and went. And I started to realize that I actually didn't wanna have any alcohol. And I wasn't craving that cocktail feeling. And I actually really didn't want it. And so then I said, okay, well, maybe I'll just do March. And March turned into April, turned into whatever comes after that. And then COVID happened. So we all stayed home from work, from our office jobs. I didn't want to start drinking during that time because that didn't feel like a good decision after I had already not drank for a few months. So I just kept it going. And before I knew it, the whole entire year had passed. And that was 2020. And now we are just starting 2025 does that count as 5 years? 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023? Yeah, 5 years. That's insane. So a couple caveats to that before I get into like the big reasons why I decided to stop drinking, which is literally probably the only reason if anyone is watching this video. Every now and then, if we're out to dinner and Ethan orders a dirty martini, I will have a sip of it because I just love the olivey vodka taste. So I'll have a sip of it. That's a caveat. But I don't order my own drink and I don't have more than one sip of his martini because then I get a headache. The other caveat is there have been maybe 2 times in the history of these last 5 years where I have drank. 2? Yeah, one was when Ethan and I went on our 5-year wedding anniversary trip. I had one drink and then I was like, woo, we're out without the kids. And I had another one. I was so hungover. I regretted every freaking second of it. And then the other time was when we went to one of Ethan's friends' weddings in Hawaii. Because I was back with that same group of his friends that I was talking about in the beginning of this video without the kids. And I just let loose, had a bunch of drinks. Pretty sure I blacked out and I broke my foot that night. So I think that was a sign from the universe, like, Annalie, that's it. So those are the 2 times over the last 5 years where I have drank, but I regretted it so much both times, because what I realized over that first month of not drinking that then extended to 2 months, 3 months, a year, and now 5 years, is that I was having so much anxiety from drinking that I didn't even realize. And I will explain to you what I mean. So what I didn't realize was when I was drinking before I did dry January, is that I was having anxiety on the weekends from just the thought of whether or not I wanted to drink that night. Because I wouldn't drink like every Friday night, but I was starting to get this feeling like, oh, like, should I have a drink tonight? Should I not have a drink tonight? Like, maybe I should save it and maybe I'll have a drink Saturday night. Oh, no, because then I have to wake up early Sunday, so maybe I will have a drink tonight. But if we're going to go out to dinner tomorrow night, like, all of these what ifs / scenario playing in my head. And then on top of that, it was, okay, well, Annalie, if you do have a drink tonight, only have 2, because if you have more than 2, you're gonna wake up with a headache and you don't wanna have a headache tomorrow. So it was this like what if game of when am I gonna drink and then how many drinks am I gonna have? That was actually causing me to have like preemptive anxiety. I'm not talking about anxiety, that's a whole nother conversation, but just preemptive anxiety. First month when I stopped drinking completely, that anxiety went away because it wasn't a choice I had to make anymore. The answer was simply, I was not drinking. So when I took away that, should I have a drink tonight? Should I not have a drink? Should I save it? Maybe I can have a Bloody Mary. When I took away all of that chatter in my head around alcohol, it felt so peaceful. It was just, okay, I'm just gonna have my weekend. That's it. I'm just gonna live my weekend and no questions about it. It sounds kind of insane to say it out loud, but I just didn't realize how much like internal monologue I was having about it until I stopped. And then I was like, oh my God, this is consuming a lot of my thought. Another thing that I realized in that month, that eyebrow looks a little funky, is that I was starting to find other things to look forward to on the weekend. So Ethan and I would go into the office Monday through Friday. We work together, so we would carpool. And usually I'd be like, God, I can't wait till Friday so I can have a drink and relax. I can't wait till Friday. But then after that month, that dialogue also shifted, and it turned into, I cannot wait to sit on the couch with Ethan. I can't wait to wake up and have coffee and play with my kids in the morning, instead of, I can't wait to have this drink. So those were the two biggest, I would say, like internal monologues that I felt shift, that actually took away some of my anxiety that had nothing to do with the actual drinking part itself, where I was like, oh my God, I didn't even realize that I was anxious about these things until I stopped. Another huge mental thing, anxiety. And I'm not even talking about when you get like blacked out and do something dumb and then you wake up the next day like with that feeling, because like that sucks. I'm not even talking about that. Hold on. I don't want a powder bronzer. I want a cream. But more so that feeling when you wake up, even in the middle of the night, when you, let's say you guys have a couple drinks and you wake up in the middle of the night and you're thirsty and it's not like you're hungover, you just kind of feel a little off. That feeling of waking up in the middle of the night and being like, oh my God, am I gonna be hungover? Am I gonna have a headache tomorrow morning? Did I do too much? Like, that was anxiety that I was getting. And when I woke up in the morning, even if I wasn't, like I said, hungover, I still wouldn't feel like 100%. Like maybe I would be like a little off in the morning, like slightly, maybe like a slight tiny little headache, even just from 2 drinks. And the guilt that would come from that, knowing that the only reason I'm not 100% right now for myself, for my husband, for my kids, is because of me. And again, if you are someone who still likes to drink, I love that for you. If you think you can totally be a mom and drink responsibly, I just feel like I had so much anxiety tied to it that I didn't even realize. And I'm also a pretty anxious person. I have been my whole life, especially after I had kids. It came out tenfold. But I was just waking up in the morning. Before I'd even open my eyes, I'd be like, oh, am I gonna have a headache today? Am I gonna feel weird? Like before I even knew if I was gonna be hungover or not. Which leads me to my next topic. Being hungover with kids is a next level of hell, because there is nothing that you can do. You can't just check out and sleep and rot and watch TV all day like I used to, when I used to like party before kids. It's physically not an option. And like, yeah, sure, Ethan and I would take turns or whatever if one of us wasn't feeling well. But I just started to realize, and again, I am not trying to sound preachy by any means, but I just realized that that was not me giving my kids like the best version of myself. And granted, I still do not always give them the best version of myself by any means, okay? But I just had this guilt when I would have a headache in the morning or when I would be short-tempered just because I felt a little off. And honestly, motherhood for me is hard enough. It does come naturally to me in the sense that like loving my kids comes naturally, but the waking up, clocking in immediately, there's no commute time to motherhood, okay? You are waking up and you are clocking in. That is hard for me to do as someone who, like all of us, right? We used to be so selfish before kids. So I just really want to give myself like the best fighting chance in the morning with them. And if I'm even 1% hungover, that affects how I'm going to parent that morning. And after that month, it just started to be not worth it to me. Another big anxiety thing, and this is probably specific towards me, or if you are someone who has a lot of like what if anxiety like I do, I'm a big intrusive thoughts girly. I'm in therapy for it right now. I'm always thinking like worst case scenario in the future. And when I was drinking, I would think all the time, even though after I had a baby, I was not getting blacked out on the weekends, my brain was always telling myself, what if you get blacked out and accidentally drive your kid somewhere? I've literally never done that. This is what my brain is telling me. What if you get blacked out and hurt your baby? What if you get blacked out and I don't know, get in a car accident and go to jail and you can't be a mom? Like just these wild ass thoughts of things that have never happened to me, but that my brain was playing out in my head. Again, things that I didn't even realize were happening until I stopped. I feel like the biggest thing people talk about, let's see, I don't really have, should I do eyeshadow? I'll just do like a tiny bit of eyeshadow. Oh, I forgot to put on sunscreen. Damn it. Anyways, I feel like a lot of people when they do dry January, now I lost my eyeshadow brush. They are doing it for physical reasons, which is still absolutely valid and amazing. And there were a lot of physical benefits, not even just the waking up feeling good every morning, which is the biggest gift, by the way, I have ever given myself. Because like I said earlier, motherhood is not for the weak. I wake up feeling not so great, even after a full night of sleep, okay? Even just on a regular day, I wake up not feeling so great. Where the fuck did I put that brush? So the gift of not even having to worry if I'm gonna wake up feeling any sort of off because of alcohol has been, people stop drinking because of physical reasons, like they wanna lose weight or tighten up their diet. And those are great reasons, obviously. And that was probably some of the reason that I stopped also, like just hitting restart on the new year. But I truly, truly believe that the mental benefits for me not drinking have far outweighed the physical that I saw. And like, yeah, did I lose some weight that first month? I'm sure I did lose a few pounds, but for me, the biggest benefit was by far like the mental load and helping my anxiety. Again, anxiety that I didn't even realize that I had and was dealing with around alcohol. I did read that first month to kind of help me get in the mindset. What's it called? This Naked Mind or Your Naked Mind. Maybe just The Naked Mind. It's by Annie something. It was a good book to read to help me get through dry January. And I'll never forget one thing it said in there that has stuck with me. I don't even think I ever finished the book. Maybe I read the first few chapters and it was like enough to get me through January. But I'll never forget something that I read in there, which was the author who had been like an alcoholic and was sharing her journey, said she had this realization that she felt like she needed a drink before she went to a social event or before she went to like a work event. She needed that drink so that she could feel confident and loose and like have fun, which is exactly how I felt too. Going to a work event, going to a happy hour, going out with my friends or whatever, like you feel like you need that drink in order to be social and normal. In the book, she said, why do I think I'm not enough the way that I am? And I never thought about it like that. Like, wait a minute. Why don't I think I'm funny enough? Why don't I think I'm outgoing enough? Why don't I think I'm pleasant enough to be around unless I've had a glass? Like, why don't I think I'm confident without alcohol? Turned into faking it till I made it. Like whenever I went out to events for work or with Ethan or whatever, I would almost just, I'm not gonna say like fake like I was tipsy, but in my mind be like, okay, like you're gonna be as confident as you used to feel after 2 drinks and people are gonna love you, you're gonna make people laugh, and you don't need that like safety drink almost to go socialize. Now that I haven't drank for 5 years, it feels crazy for me to even say that out loud, but I remember feeling like that. And that was probably one of the like hardest parts about stopping completely. I think I got into mocktails, which is a good choice if you are someone who like likes to have a fun drink in your hand. Now when we go out, I love ordering a fun mocktail. A lot of people ask if I took up gardening to replace alcohol. You know what gardening is? And no, not that first year. I've tried like smoking in the past and I've always had not great experiences with it. I've only had one time when I actually enjoyed it. That was my friend Catherine. Hi, Catherine. I didn't want to just take away alcohol to replace it with something else. Although I do think that is a great route if that's what you want to do. I just personally wanted to like not do anything and see how I felt. But now I will see, do I really want to put mascara on? Putting mascara on sucks because like then you have to take it off at night. I feel like me not putting on mascara is like I'm one step closer to bedtime, you know? So I've had maybe 1 or 2 times that I have smoked and enjoyed it, but I don't want to do that regularly. I just don't want to. Literally no shade if you do it. I know so many moms who do it and love it. I will do every now and then. I have like really, really small dose gummies, like 1 milligram. I enjoy doing those. Sometimes it doesn't really feel like anything. It just relaxes me a little bit. I don't know. Ever since I've stopped drinking, I am so paranoid about doing anything that'll make me out of mind when I'm with my kids or make me not feel well the next morning, since I'm with my kids like obviously 100% of the time. So unless I have like a girls' night away, like in a hotel, which happens, you know, once a year, or if it's a night where Ethan and I are getting away, but even still, I'm like, do I want to risk not feeling well tomorrow on my one morning to sleep in without the kids, you know? So it just kind of depends. I'm not opposed to it. I don't think I found anything where I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I'm looking for, but I'm open to it, if that makes sense. we're just gonna do like a tiny bit of mascara. So anyways, I feel like I was kind of all over the place per usual, but that is how I stopped drinking. I just started with a month and now here I am 5 years later. And I hope I really didn't come off as judgy at all in this video because you know you best. And if you are thriving with whether you're gardening or drinking or doing whatever, microdosing, then I am like so beyond happy for you and I would love to hear about it. So let me know in the comments kind of if you're trying Try January. I keep calling it Try January because that was that app, Try Dry. If you're trying Dry January, if you're sober curious, or if you're like, bitch, what are you talking about? I'm not gonna give up my martinis, and I totally get it. I will say, not to be like a total party pooper, I do think it's calmed down a little bit online, but mommy wine culture, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be an old lady. I feel like I got a little bit out of control. Like, I know it's funny to joke about having wine at like 10 a.m., but maybe because I know people in my life who like actually do that and have spiraled into like complete disarray. It's not, I don't know. I know it's just a joke. I'm not trying to be like a Debbie Downer. And I feel like it's dialed back a lot. Like, I don't think people are joking or not joking about that as much online anymore. But anyways, let me know in the comments if you're gonna try January or if you're doing it. I committed mascara. This is the only, mascara that I have used that actually comes off in clumps. All of these other tubing mascaras are lying when they say they'll come off in clumps when you wash your face. No. Oops. Okay. Again, good enough for me. Thank you so much for watching. I actually had a lot of fun doing this. Again, I haven't done a sit down YouTube video in years. It really is something that I would love to get back into. Oh. Okay, well the hair is gonna go up in a claw clip. Anyways. Please like, follow, subscribe, do all the things. Leave a comment. Let me know if you're trying Dry January. Did I get it right that time? I don't think I did. And I will talk to you soon.